Wild talents. There is no man who is without the hyena element in his composition. And there is no hyena that is not at least rudimentarily human. Charles Hoy Fort. On the day of your death, I became a striped hyena. Hysteria's lank technician, cursorial man-eater, witch's mount, I ran. Filiform punk with my mane of stale thistles, over Primrose Hill across Black Heath to gnaw the shin bones of monuments, dragging my afflicted eye through the cagey manners of Frasers and Richardsons, each lesser cray. London's twitchy slang bloomed under me. I was not afraid. Animal abandoned to its instincts, slouching down the twisting Vennel steps to lick the yeast of my misdeeds. I tore your bleakest manor into strips, left pennants of its dark meat snagged on the late Victorian railings. In cemeteries I scorned inscriptions, wiped my hazy scent all over. I was the fur atlas of my loss. And the yellow grass grew sharp where it rubbed on me. Your heart's vermin, darling of the solvent park, weaving the obstinate dusk into silent film, starry cuss. I did not sleep, but lay panting on a raft of trash, the serial bedwetter's flammable mattress, Saturday magazines still in their cellophane, empire mine. My hackles and the full flag of this failed state flea bit. The day after your death, when they found me, hope's wraith white at the road's wide middle, I think I'd been running, I think I'd been dreaming, that I was the starkest hound of my spirit, gargoyle against this human bruise. Sibua. As my heritage to me like a hyena's lair, go, assemble all the wild beasts, bring them to devour. Jeremiah 12:9. Thus, circumstance has compelled me to tell you, you know jack shit about hyenas, dear. This, for instance, hyena is not an animal, but an edge. Where grief has its house, her wetted territories sing. The opposite of pleasure is not pain. Hyena does not dig the dead from their graves, but where bodies meet the sun halfway, she is the war's mute treasurer. She has carried away our loss in moist parcels with an extremity of tenderness. Draw around a sleeping dog with chalk, turn away and count to 10, hyena will rise. Patroness of feral misgivings. Her several habitats are as follows: Lebanon, Versailles, the Falls Road on her oak after a storm. That which you call her pelt, her overalls, that which you call her mane, her crown. Twopenny crones prefer the sleek indifference of felines. Hyena is her own raving spectrum, mascot of ruder perversions. It is a militant witch indeed who rides the long night into Rorschach nose buried in her sweating neck. In the mid-1970s, radical lesbian separatists hoisted her face like a flag over pool halls and dive bars. In the late 1990s, her loping form was sighted in a comet's spitting tail. It is said that if you see a hyena in your dreams, you will die a violent death. This is true, however. Hyena is not harbinger, but prophet. Some people simply will not be told. In Guadalupe, her image appeared within a black mission fig, and similar visions have been reported in the South Hebron Hills near Susia. To find the image of hyena in a piece of fruit is to be bought not luck, but fortitude. Within the troublante ecologies of Los, hyena is the undisputed mater lacrymarum, or third mother. Her signature maneuver is the planchette, sharp silhouetted corsair crossing any booking sea. The night revolves around her, and didn't I tell you that all hyenas are female, that is, all hyenas are pirates? Hyena, our funerary renegade, is a poltergeist in a hair shirt. Where taxonomists say the hyena is closer to the cat than the dog, it is our stated position that hyena is closer to a baby grand piano, to an Acme safe in free fall, to a typewriter thrown from a hotel window. Dearest, hyena is nearly extinct. To become a hyena is to live without captains or champions, to tarry packless in dangerous places, sectarian wreck grounds, hospital corridors. Hyenas love well, but not often. There's a fine line between woo and woe, what you do to impress you, a million pitchy costumes. Hyenas are prized for the aphrodisiac qualities of their hindsight. Men have been grinding their bones to powder for centuries, poor fools. Hyena's power is not in her marrow, but in the near miraculous knack of her cherishing. She has been known to sit vigil for 800 years. Hyenas have no proverbs, only poetry. That which you cruelly describe as howling is, in point of fact, the end of a song you persist in mishearing. Blatant wassail, karaoke, how sorrow is ground like a coarse blue lens. Hyena builds a bonny. From feuds and stalemates, all the fair weather democracies of the heart. When I say heart, I mean only the tetchy pulse of the climate. I mean only our survival, a miracle of little distinction. Hyena watched her husband's meat defrost for hours until it became a caraval, pink and awash on its own melt tide. To be a hyena, an eruption in the level flesh, the cavities and silhouettes beneath your observable world. Hyena was hungry. Keen is a word that holds something desperate and suggestive about language. The shrinking missionary tedium of cities, around which walk the indigent ghosts of all her doomed teachers. There is nobody left now. Asked where she was when she heard the news, she can't recall. She was going through the bins round the back of M&S, or being called a communist cockwrecker on the internet. She was home with the priests winding themselves up like racist cabbies and little girls gullible and luminous, making her name into a skipping rhyme. Who knows? Who cares? It's all blah, blah, kif, kif now, innit? It's the other one she thinks of in the night, and the skinty whir of his voice as he fraggled about at the front of the picket. Dysfunctional prefect, school bully blazer open to the wheezing wet. It was summer. Hyena rolled up her human sleeves, and he saw her and he knew her for a velvet leper like himself. What makes some of us hide in plain sight while others commit to grievous loping through the static parks? Can anyone free the hyena in themselves and live? To be a hair stickler, to sculpture scarce weight into battlements, to be an armored dog, not carnivore, but scavenger. Her vegan teeth grew sharp on licorice root. Mentors, plangent and sodden, clever dicks who lead by their blighted example. Hyena builds a bonny, tired of her own tweedy scent, tired of her body, a dull wool sleeve trailing in a library. Pile up the practical chairs, the books, the chronically toxic copying toner. Injunctions, edicts, sound advice, everything must burn. In the world outside, men are fretting mutton, buying their council house, paying into their pension pots. Hyena doesn't care. To be convulsive and juvenile, to make of life one grimy boast. There is no one left to imitate. Tinned soldiers with eyes like shite heirlooms. There are no mistakes to learn from now. Cipher of sleep foreboding hyena on her hind legs in a green silk skirt and paratrooper boots, flashes a grin to camera, silently mugging like Harpo fucking marks. Hyena in her human form attends a funeral. There was, of course, his mimsy girl, apt witch with her spread of gossamer divinings. Not me, or again the brilliant friend, her dear face caught like a wasp in a cobweb. Boys with staunch lusts mizzled into anecdote. Eminent dressers, all eyes drawn into the orbit of their wardrobes. There were smugglers of honey, doomed ones lost in the errand of their jeopardy. I was not afraid. Beneath their clothes, they're pink like links of sausage. Look away, look again. In the albinizing light before the storm, I'm there, smelling of creosote and spent pleasure. Striped sardonicus writhing in the grim heat of my rictus jeans. I am always there, jaw-jacked and bleakly glitching. A baddie's cackle, the zip on a vampire's dress drawn down at singing speed. My laugh, my lips ripped back to their sateen lining, this deviant scene. Wind change artist, neither cat nor dog, but oh, I've hung his name from my mouth in reddish threads, the flag I've flown from mildewed ramparts. Sweet girls he had, who filed their teeth and took their meds, and me, convulsing and whooping without joy. Look again, look away, look again. I've turned my face to the wall. Striped hyena's laugh. You're wrong, of course. It does exist. Hyena is in secrets, not in spectacles. Won't show it to just anyone. You do not know what laughter is. The dream of a forest, reduced to fidgets and to fragrance. A long, giddy falsetto stunt, the gimme mottos of her colleagues. No. Hyena's laugh is a fisher of limits, will twist her honeyed energies towards the keenest edge, the feculent mouth ploughed up. You mistake the geckering of telemarketers, all those toothy musketeers, for laughter. What you call laughter is the frictionless pigeon of amateurs. It is ordered online and it ships worldwide in sealed air baggies, stagnant and extrovert. Hyena's laugh is the night condensed inside a hard blue marble. Yours is maverick toad work, a minister of state smarming in a headlock. It is a trick stomach, the gimmicked throat. Hyena laughs but rarely. Our laughter is not summoned, it is swift and mute as vengeance, never conjured up by pratfall, cocktail, pungent jungle bud, by ridicule or tickle. Her laughter is nocturnal, skunk bulk gliding through underground cities, toting its prole melody. Hyena's laugh is not the rubberized whoopee of expelled air, it is a sudden glitch in her sloping form as she dips beneath the yardarm. It is often silent, a kind of presto, a kind of splayed cadabra. In its sudden flux, she has been known to turn textile, become a rush mat flattened out for welcome. It has its citric hits, its cynic frailty, dark adjuncts, but most of all, it is a kind of brackish hymn sunk under the breath. No, it is not a chorus for skeletons and predators. It does not belong to your world of crocs and spoils the tottering succor of cities' arts council funding. It is not a meat prescription, a kind of gargoyle propaganda. It is subtle electricity, and you are its object, like history. Its origin is asking. Hyena will never laugh for you. Will let out her luscious amen to the wind alone. You do not know what laughter is. Hysterical triage, the gremlin usury of femi-blondes, snob music licking a drink. Oh no, laugh is a windfall of wild peaches, as a wayward nature tuned toward mercy. Hyena outro rock star rant. Gonna get the girl, gonna kill the baddies and save the entire planet. Pop will eat itself. Sometimes the wound is a weapon. Yeah, sometimes the weapon is a wound. My name with an exclamation point. Still life with bullshit embargo. The hashtags of corporate hygiene, go fuck yourselves. I cut my teeth in a plague year, bitches. I'm done with your choric conniving poetry. Sausage fleisch and choleric, and get your ape hands off of me, touchy-feely in the groupthink of your grief. In the ether, on the edges, hyena. This year's thing is the nepotist tightrope cut by some scorpion upstart. Hyena is the forward of all doom, a cocaine emoji, a fur rubrics, voluptuary, renegade. You don't see her coming because she is old. Look again, clock that hag mouth rubied up, oh, baby Jane, that's your blood poetry, if you even have blood. Poetry, if you're not a face painted on an egg. There's a song in her head, she wrote it, it doesn't exist. In another life, there were groupies, so many plastic gimme babies, and they wanted her like some leather disease or no. In truth, hyena traced the weeping career of a candle alone and shunned a face all glammy oxides, platinum and platinumous bruise, a severe cheek turned to sequins. Who wanted to be pure, to leave them aghast with a cold desire. Her and her suede head, her and her Joan of Arc pudding bowl, her and her terrible teeth. Hearts trade their petty syrup monopolies, going, who are you, hyena, and where are you from? Break a word into Bricasa, spet and colour. How the mouth fills up with a false confession, how the mouth fills up with motifs and with sound. Go fuck yourselves. Your poem is a dick pic. Your poem is a DNA profile worked up from a single pubic hair. I'm done with you. Hyena is done with you. Haven't cut the memo at 13 and you're a girl, forget it. Nothing but gyrating, gaga through a spancel twilight, preening and upholstered in eyes and hands and eyes, and nothing but a bathtub suicide and revised history. Hyena is Plath gone Enfield. Hyena is the sexless boggart of a Manchester slum clearance, is the hobnailed squatter nailing his Unibomb thesis to the door of your frigging Starbucks. Hyena is also your androgynous moon face with his doctrine of soft afflictions. How they tried to tell Hyena who she was, a fleshy chevron at the exit marked sex, billowing and earnest in a wheat field, patronized on late shows by renegade jazz fiends, Jesus wept. They said, you're your own art, hot head and cherry bomb, or you're nothing. Hyena isn't pretty. She needs the medicinal hinge of a word joining her to her own skin by the skin of a felty verb, a space for all her vibes and poses. There's this song in her head, or there was. Verminous flirt in studs and spikes, and the gig is a stick-em-up dumb show. UV light eats your partial recall in another life. Pockmarked enthusiasts pouring her, sheepy faces shuddering their phantom pronouns. Hyena is the queer messiah, here to hex the patriarchy, by which she means you, poetry. The patriarchy is a giant comedy foot. It has its own spotlit alcove at the Reykjavik Penis Museum, is eating Taco fucking Bell off a $10,000 table, is writing Yas Queen with piss in the snow, thinks it can sell you back to you. Bitch, please, said my skin in an acid year, by which I mean my skin is acid, by which I mean my words erode the mouth that shapes them. Listen, Instagram is a patient feedback form. Nobody gives a shite about your brand. Hyena turns her holy silhouette to hands, holds her own words out to you. She is offering or aiming, repents the capsized sun, is tearing her hair in mortician's drag. Sometimes the wound is a weapon. Yeah, sometimes the weapon is a wound. Wanted this space to gather her limp minutes and to stand still, to make room for her, the misfits, misfit, never mind Eileen Miles or Patti Smith. Hyena is with Ma Rainey singing Prove It On Me in a nightclub lounge. Hyena is for aversion and brawl on a deadpan Soho street in 1996. No more innuendo, and the teetering cairns of tedious entendre. We are all hyena, and we are done with you. Is your hours now? Yes. Every sickly, swooning line. Thank you.